Hi, everybody. Just going to take you through a quick overview of Clinch's reporting, give you a sense of the type of analytics and recruitment insights that we can deliver you. A common theme through Clinch is we try to benchmark all recruitment marketing activities, content, pages, sources, emails or SMSs down to did this activity get people hired? So this is the overall funnel for an organization over a period of time. And as we look at it, we can start to see that there were 500,000 visitors, and then we take them the whole way through to who became successful and who became hired. And each of these uh, sections can be drilled into so you can look at the individual candidates. Traffic is tracked, how many visitors to pages, demographics are tracked, landing pages and blogs. But we'll go through these individually in a more meaningful manner by looking into the reporting section. So when we look at a funnel for a period of time, we are able to really start to understand how has this period of time performed. So I think in this one, we're just looking at about a 7-day period. So we can see we 5,300 visitors. We converted half of those into a candidate. 91% of those started an application, and we got 64% of those to the end. Of that 64, 6% reached a success state in the ATS. As you will recall, we have multiple ATS integrations that give us back disposition data. So we can see that the recruitment team felt that 82% of these people were of good enough quality to get hired, although they may not have got hired when they reached a hiring manager. And in this particular example, we're able to see that the 63 of the candidates were actually hired at the end of the process. So the overall apply to hire ratio was 1 in 36. So again, that gives us a good sense of how well different stages of the funnel are performing. And we also give some sense of overall pages visited, average dwell time, and then overall demographics in terms of the gender of the people making the job applications and submitting forms on the career site or the job landing pages. We can go deeper. We can look right down into individual pages. So again, this becomes important because when you start to look at the hiring ratios from the candidates that are coming into landing pages, employer branding pages, or other content that's being created, you start to see this apply to hire ratios starting to increase. So again, we're now getting 1 in 13 people. So 2,200 people visited a page. They went on to become a candidate, they started to apply, and then 50 of those have been hired. So again, these numbers are particularly impressive. At the actual level of the individual forms, we're even able to take you down to understand how individual pages performed, and there is even analytics at the page level that allows you to look at the performance of individual blocks on a page. So did the employee story resonate more with the candidates than perhaps the corporate video? The next set of analytics we look at is jobs. So again, how are our job landing pages performing? So in this particular case, they're doing okay. We're hiring 1 in 38 people that come in directly via job, and we can very quickly look and drill into those numbers. So again, pretty decent conversion rates. We're converting 56% of all visitors to jobs. We're getting 95% of those to start an application, and we're getting 64% of those to the end of the application process. In this particular example, these are the candidates that are sitting inside the Workday environment. We can also look at individual roles. For example, we can see that the number of views, the number of people that we know that have viewed the job, the number of people who start to apply, and the number of people that have completed applications. Content analytics is hugely invaluable. So we're able also to look at the performance of both blogs and indeed videos within the recruitment process. So in this particular example, we're starting to see that very few people have looked at videos, but those that have, already those apply to hire ratios are starting to look much more promising. And what we typically see across other organizations is that the candidates that engage with blogs and videos are getting hired at a rate approximately 10 times more frequently than the candidates that don't. So this data can be used back in our lead scoring module. So when we are scoring candidates within the CRM environment, the recruiters know who they should be focusing their efforts on because they have spent more time getting to know the company, and that typically indicates they're more likely to get hired. Traffic analysis is obviously very important because that's how you benchmark your advertising spend. Was it coming in from search engines, social networks, job boards, email campaigns, direct to websites, or content that was just coming in direct with no refer. And again, Clinch benchmarks all of these activities, and not just on a first touch basis, which is very different to how your applicant tracking system track a visit. They track a visit from the page before the candidate made the application. But we all know that in many cases that journey started days, weeks, or months in advance and may have come in from another channel. So a typical behavior we see is a candidate finding a job on Indeed, visiting the job, engaging with it, navigating around the career site, potentially coming back again multiple times, potentially navigating to Glassdoor towards the end of the process, maybe applying for the job, getting attribution within the ATS to Glassdoor, or maybe coming back in and looking at the job again direct on the career site, making the application, in which case the career site gets the attribution. Having said that, it's actually really important because the where that candidate actually originally found you is possibly where you need to be concentrating more efforts, because if they didn't find you there is no way they could have come in from those other channels subsequently. So again, all channels are tracked, and again, you can start to see different ratios and the difference in the value of some channels in terms of how they're performing, with much better apply to higher ratios than some of the traditional channels that we may be used to. We also cater for search analytics, so we're able to tell you everything that the candidates are searching for on these pages. So what type of roles they're searching for, where they're searching for jobs, are they using terms like remote or childcare or flexible working hours. The recruitment team now have access to all these search queries, which are also tagged against the candidate record to make it easier for a recruiter to distill what the candidate is actually really looking for, but particularly allow the employment branding team to potentially focus on potentially putting more content that answers some of these queries out on the pages, like we do support remote working, or flexible working is allowed at certain times of the day. Workflow analytics really focuses on tracking the effectiveness of those workflow sequences that we went through in the marketing automation module. So how is our feedback survey request form performing? What type of candidates are coming in when we send them a request for some feedback? We offer them the opportunity to revisit their application. What's happening and are they getting hired? And again, consistently we see the apply to higher ratios for these type of engagements are very, very high, really showing the efficacy of the recruitment marketing automation on getting more of the right candidates over the line with really attractive apply to higher ratios. So the recruitment team aren't having to do a lot of work processing applicants. They're getting more volume from candidates that are actually getting hired. Lastly, obviously, it bleeds into the ability to track email campaigns. So, for example, understanding how the emails were delivered, how they were opened, how they were clicked on, who people started applications, who went on to complete, who was successful and who actually got hired. And again, looking at that across multiple different campaigns. And again, being able to track that across job alerts that are being sent directly to candidates, workflow automation sequences, as we looked at before, individual emails, being able to track the effectiveness of an individual email within that environment, candidate conversation emails sent by recruiters, or even tracking how candidate consent emails that we're sending out to candidates in order to track their consent are performing in terms of getting more candidates over the line.